The mysterious death of Grant Solomon. From thedailymail.com. March 18, 2024. Family fights for answers after mysterious death of teenage baseball star Grant Solomon. Father who was only witness said son's own car ran over him on side of the road and police ruled it a freak accident. Grant Solomon, 18, died on July 20, 2020 after his Toyota Tacoma pickup truck struck him in parking lot of baseball training facility Ward Performance Institute. His death was ruled accidental although family said there was no investigation. Grant's mother, Angie Solomon, is working on reopening the case. A family in Tennessee is fighting for answers after the mysterious death of 18-year-old baseball star Grant Solomon nearly 4 years ago. Grant's father Aaron Solomon was the only known witness when his son's own vehicle, a white Toyota Tacoma truck, ran over him on the side of the road. On the morning of July 20, 2020, Grant was driving to meet his father, a former Tennessee news anchor, at the Ward Performance Institute for a private pitching session in Gallatin, about 50 miles away from his home in Franklin. Less than 10 minutes after arriving at the facility, Aaron called 911 and said his son was trapped underneath his Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. The handsome 6'4" athlete, who was starting his senior year of high school, died shortly after. The Gallatin Police Department recorded Grant's death as a parking lot accident, ruled it as accidental and closed the case. But Grant's devastated family claimed there was no investigation, no reconstruction of the scene and no autopsy or toxicology performed.
This is Grant Solomon, and this is his mom standing at the spot where his body was found. And this is his sister Gracie.
Even 3 years later, I still believe that my dad killed my brother, abused my mom, and I know me.
He was 18 years old, and when I tell you the story of what happened to him, his mother, and his sister, it will haunt you forever. Here's Grant's 360, the last spot where his phone pinged. That morning, he and his dad had a meeting. This is the ditch where he was found. His truck was on top of him. This is where things get very confusing. Listen to the 911 call his dad made.
My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and drug him into the ditch, and it's on top of it.
His father claims that Grant's truck dragged him into this ditch. He tells another story where the truck drives itself forward into the ditch, which would defy gravity. Now remember the last spot where his phone pinged? It was here, not up there. Here, not there. Grant didn't have a single scratch on him, just blunt force trauma to the back of his head. So if he was dragged on concrete into a ditch, then why wasn't there a single scratch on his body? When Grant's mom, Angie, was at the hospital and she saw Grant's dad, he looked at her with a smirk and said, "We're gonna be a family now." She tells me that he chose no autopsy and no forensics to be done on the car, and later she found that one of his baseball bats was missing.
Dad is super manipulative. I even remember taking a bath as a young kid and him washing me with a Dove bar of soap, completely up and inside of my privates.
Gracie started sharing her story to the world at the age of 13 years old. This next story is very disturbing. Gracie and her father went to see Grant at his baseball tournament, and this is what happened.
I woke up to feeling something really hard on my...
When Gracie told Grant what their dad did to her, he couldn't take it anymore. He was sick of the years of abuse, so he decided to confide in the priest at his school. He was also turning 18 and wanted full custody of his little sister to protect her from their father. But before he could carry through with this, he mysteriously passes away in this ditch, and the only witness is his father. Also, his dad and the priest were good friends. Listen to what the priest of his school said at his memorial service.
Listen, you just never get a ninth grader making an appointment with you to talk about Jesus. And Brad did inside my office for well over an hour. And just wanted to know how he could draw closer to Christ.
When he said this, Angie, Gracie, and Grant's girlfriend Hannah were in complete shock because they knew that Grant went to see the priest to talk to him about the abuse and ask for help, not to become closer to Christ. Angie has preserved Grant's truck and kept it in hiding. She shows me blood splatter that is under the truck, but she shows me splatter that is actually above the driver's seat.
Everything that could be investigated on this vehicle has already been investigated by a forensics team that testify in homicide murder trial.
So if Grant was dragged under his truck, then how did blood splatter get on the top?
He just shouldn't be in there. Sometimes I just want him to go home.
Meet Hannah, Grant's girlfriend. She shares her thoughts on what she thinks happened to him.
What I think happened on July 20th, 2020 was that Grant was murdered and that there was some sort of malicious intent and foul play done by his father.
2 of Grant's friends were sued by his father for speaking up. Grant's best friend, Wynn, was sued.
Everyone should remember him as a brother to everybody and everyone's best friend, because that's what he was.
This is Anna. She was also sued by his father for speaking out.
And then he told me that his dad abused him, his mom, his sister, and he touches my sister. Like, if someone asks you about it, like, act like you don't know, because my dad is very dangerous.
She got this tattoo on her arm, and Hannah even got a tattoo as well.
Usually would add, I love you, times infinity. And so I have that. I got that tattooed behind my ear. So he's with me.
Just weeks after Grant passed away, his favorite dog, Babs, died of a broken heart. It has been 3 years and still no investigation has been opened. And here is how you can make a difference. You can help Grant, Gracie, and Angie. Click the link in my bio and donate so that Grant can be exhumed from his grave so a real autopsy can be done.
And don't forget to sign the petition. Link in bio. Follow Angie Solomon Family Official on TikTok and Freedom for Gracie on Instagram for more information.
I have felt great grief all week, and of course I have, because there is great love for Grant Rhodes Huffine Solomon. Grant, I will always love you.
That was a video of Aaron Solomon speaking at his son Grant's funeral. And many people believe he's also responsible for his son's death and has gotten away with it. If you don't know the story already, here's the history. This is Aaron Solomon. He is a former radio host and news anchor and a current financial advisor for Merrill Lynch. Also bear in mind, all of these are allegations because nothing's been proven in a court of law, but if any of it holds muster, this man's an actual monster. He's divorced from his wife, and they share 2 children together, Gracie and Grant. Only a month after his 18th birthday, Grant was in a freak and tragic accident. Grant was a very talented baseball player, so he was grabbing his equipment from the bed of his truck. The truck malfunctioned, and it dragged him down to the median and wound up pinning him there. This is what the scene looked like, and interestingly enough, the only witness was his father, Aaron. This is the 911 call he made, and it's strange.
My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and dragged him into the ditch, and it's on top of it. He's trapped under the truck, and somehow it drug him underneath it. Yes, my son is under it. I'm trying to call 911.
Okay, what's your name?
Oh my God. My name is Aaron Solomon.
And you said
oh my gosh.
There's no correct way to grieve, but it certainly doesn't sound like a parent who's probably witnessed their worst nightmare. Again, Aaron Solomon was the only witness to the terrible accident that affected his son. But there were all kinds of inconsistencies with his story. He made claims that there were 3 men who were assisting Grant in trying to get him out. Aaron never did, though. But these 3 men were never seen or heard from again. They seemed to vanish in thin air. Aaron, police, nobody could locate them. And when they got to the hospital, Grant's injuries weren't consistent with a car accident.
Grant had an incredibly intuitive nature about him, and he seemed to sense that things were going to happen. That same morning as he was leaving his mom's house to go to training, he told her that he didn't want to die in Gallatin today. Clearly, he had a really bad feeling. But he went to training anyway because he was being pressured by his father, and truly he felt like he had no other choice.
So, I am aware I have not come on my own platform to address what happened to my boyfriend Grant Solomon, who passed away in 2020. Now, I haven't done that for a couple reasons. One, I'm finally getting to a point where I feel comfortable being vulnerable online and kind of sharing my side of the story from a girlfriend's perspective. And 2, I didn't want to get sued for defamation for speaking out about the incident. Now, as of recently, the story has been very publicized and a lot of people know about it. And I've already done interviews with podcasters and YouTubers and such. But I would like to use my own platform to contribute to getting the story out there and bringing justice for Grant and his family. What I would like to do and what I hope to do is to also, one, share my side of the story and to touch on the grieving process and the healing process of losing a loved one, especially unexpectedly, like in this case. If it helps someone else out there going through a similar situation, I know it is extremely difficult and hard, and I would like to share my experience, and that's what I hope to do and address further.
Breaking news, we have an update with the Grant Solomon case. Remember how right before he mysteriously died, he went to his school to ask for help because of the abuse happening in his family from his father. Well, now his school is under fire because concerned citizens of Tennessee have filed a complaint against them. It has documentation showing that the school failed to report the abuse happening to Grant and his family.
Even 3 years later, I still believe that my dad killed my brother, abused my mom, and I know
Multiple times, Grant told his school that he was scared for his life. He had witnessed his father try to murder his mother in the bathroom by using the cord of a blow dryer. Grant even told his school that his father was inappropriately touching his little sister Gracie. They knew, but nothing was ever reported.
Gracie will be coming to me, whether you like it or not.
I hate my dad. I am absolutely terrified of him from everything he has done to me, my brother, and my mom.
On the day that Grant mysteriously died, his father was the only witness, and his story doesn't make sense on how he ended up under his own truck.
If you just look at the evidence, it doesn't make sense the way it's being told.
Grant's father is not only friends with the priest of the school, but also with the Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. Here is Anna, and Anna was friends with Grant. 2 years ago, she posted a testimony on YouTube where she was defending his mother and sister, but when she spoke out, she was sued by Grant's father, and it would have cost her $200,000. This is Will, Grant's best friend, and he was also sued by Grant's father when he spoke out. Another person that was sued is a kid named Walt. He was being bullied at his school, and Grant stood up for him. When Grant died, Walt immediately went online to spread awareness and stand up for Grant. He even messaged the counselor of the school who knew about the abuse to ask why she didn't do anything. And then 2 days later, police showed up at Walt's house, and now he is being sued by the school.
Seems like a lot of people who try to talk out against Pastor Steve Berger or Grace Chapel, Grace Christian Academy, Bill Lee, any of these people, seems like bad stuff always happens to them.
On the Justice for Grant YouTube, they have a recording that proves that the school knew about the abuse but did nothing about it. I will be releasing that next on my page. Grant lost his life trying to protect his little sister Gracie. If you want to read the complaint that was filed, the link is in my bio. Other students from Grant's school even wrote testimonies. It's a very interesting read. I would check that out. Also, if you haven't, make sure to sign the petition in my bio. You can help make a difference. There's still no investigation opened.
I'm Grant Solomon's mom. My name is Angie, and we are here at a tough spot, but it's where my son's body was found. He passed July 2020, right here in this ditch. His body was found right here. Was here, out here. He was 6'4", and he weighed 210 pounds. So he was a big guy, big athlete. So his head was here, and then his body would have been stretched across and up this way. There was a Toyota Tacoma pulled over him. It did not touch him. There was no weight bearing, but he was under his own truck. His father was the only witness. and stayed at the top of the hill, according to his statement, never came to Grant's aid, even when asked by 911 operators. But his father's also told multiple stories, and all of the stories that he's told can't be true, based on the condition of Grant's body. Also, what a rolling truck would do coming down a hill and out. Everything defies gravity, logic, common sense, physics, the laws of medicine. You can't defy one and make something true. So if not that, then what? And that's what we want to know, is what happened to Grant? What happened to my son?
Aaron is not a part of the photo. And the reason I say that is because if you look at Grant's hand, his hand is around his sister.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaron, even though he's in the photo, you don't see his hand anywhere. You just see him standing there, kind of on the outskirts with that ridiculous smile. And then, you know, when you look at it, you think, oh, well, Grace is smiling, and she is, but she's smiling because her brother's arm is hugging her, not her father's arm. Her brother's arm is hugging her. And then her brother is also hugging mom. So here we have like the relationship that you expect, mom, daughter, and son. And
I mean, Gracie's hand or her arm, just, her arm is like tucked behind her or something.
Exactly.
I was like,
so you recognize there is definitely a disconnect. He's not, even though he's in the picture, he's not truly involved in that family. And he might put on a great smile to pretend, but if you look, you can clearly see that that's not a genuine family photo.
So the boys call me, and they call me from like a payphone, a phone that maybe is plugged into the wall, not their cell phones. But they said, Miss Angie, we need to tell you something. Mr. Aaron did it. Just like the Murdaugh family, it was money, power, control, good old boy, pay to play, pay to get out of trouble.
But there's more to the story. There's other women that are victims too.
Since Gracie released her video, there have been other women who have come forward saying that they too have been drugged and by Aaron Solomon. Some of them are not ready to be on camera, and I respect that. They're in counseling. One was 6 years old at the time, but one of the women and I have actually become good friends and very healing for each other. She, all these years, has blamed herself. But rather be on video tonight, she sent a statement today on my text, and she asked me to read it. I'm not ready to go on camera yet, but you can tell them that Aaron has another victim from 1990 from the bar he worked at named T. Michaels. This victim has kept this shameful secret to herself until last October, when she saw Gracie's story on Instagram. I am sending this in hopes of helping other women come forward, but most importantly, to help Gracie receive justice and get Aaron Solomon off the streets where he continues to harm women this day. She writes, I believe it was hot chocolate he gave me. It was cold, October, and rainy. After I drank the hot chocolate, I don't remember much except sliding down the passenger side window trying to get out of the car, but my body would not move. I do remember enough to know that Aaron raped me that night. And I woke up the next day naked in his apartment with his roommate standing over me saying he was sorry this had happened to me.
I wanted to make a video to talk about, number one, Grant Solomon, also Some other factors that are really, really important if you live in the state of Tennessee or you're following this case nationally, you need to know this. We know that 18-year-old Grant Solomon was allegedly murdered by his father, former Channel 4 news anchor here in Nashville, Tennessee, Aaron Solomon. We also know that Grant's little sister Gracie states that her father, Aaron Solomon, raped her. If you've been following the Grant Solomon case of his suspicious murder when he was 18 and you're following this locally or nationally, then listen to this. It's so interesting because you have Aaron Solomon, who allegedly murdered his son. You have Robbie Mason, who's the headmaster of Grant's school, who never reported the abuse that Grant told him. You have Pastor Steve Berger, who's the pastor at Grace Chapel Church, who did not report the abuse as well and lied about it in front of everyone at Grant's funeral. You have Rona Branson, who's the headmaster of the middle school of Grace Christian Academy. And then you have Amy Curl, who's the guidance counselor, in which neither of those women reported the abuse and they were mandated reporters. I live in the area and I went to high school here and I'm very aware of how these people act socially. I'm also very aware of how they have manipulated an entire community to believe that Angie Solomon is crazy. This whole time, they have been just not acknowledging the fact that they are accessories to murder. As if it wasn't enough for a Christian school to actually stop and help for once. You have a kid that's murdered, and then you have an 11-year-old girl who is saying that she's being raped by her father. Anyway, you take into account that these people just live normal, everyday lives. Aaron Solomon was spotted the other day at Neighbor's Bar and Grill down the street. Buying drinks for other women. You have doubted us for so long in the fact that you think that we are gonna get nowhere. You think Angie is gonna get nowhere. You think that you are completely covered and safe. Some of the people who don't think that Angie Solomon is lying and actually believe her are Nancy Grace, Mandy Matinee with Cup of Justice, and these people are connected to the Alex Murdaugh trials and prosecution. So if Aaron Solomon and all these people are so innocent, then why do these people have anything to say? To the state of Tennessee, our lovely Governor Bill Lee and Pastor Steve Berger of Grace Chapel Church, Robbie Mason, Rona Branson, Amy Curl, Sam Johnson, and others who are involved in this. You deserve every bit of hell that is about to rain down on you.
Yeah, somehow it drug him down, I think. I don't know whether it wasn't in park or what, or if it didn't engage the brake or...
But Angie has the proof. She shows me where the black box was in Grant's car. A black box gathers driving information about a vehicle.
That black box actually shows that someone was in the driver's seat, that there was weight in the driver's seat in the last 3 seconds of the truck's drive, and that the accelerator pedal was pushed in and the steering wheel was being operated and turned sharply to the right, which matches the tire pattern. Then it was placed in park and turned off, and the weight got out of the vehicle. Grant couldn't have been the one in the last 3 seconds to get out because he was under there. So the black box told us everything. So we have all of the evidence. We just don't have an open investigation.
Grant was 6'4", is what his mother said. In this photograph, you can see he is much taller than his father. Was the seat pushed forward before his father got in the truck to move it on top of Grant?
Not only was her ex-husband the only witness in their son Grant's mysterious death, he also destroyed the memorial on their son's grave. From this to this.
Up and it was just completely, it looked like this. It was gone. It was just empty. There was a home plate there and a cross, a wooden cross someone had made, and his little name placard.
Every single day, Grant's mom Angie and his sister Gracie would visit his grave.
Those flowers were dead and they were just laying on it. And we were in complete shock and hurt, and there was no name tag, no even namespace that said that any of this area was Grant. So the groundskeeper was out there, and he's my friend. And so I said, what happened out here? And he said, Mr. Solomon came and told me he wanted everything cleared. And he said, so I did. I cleared it all off, and it's in a box up there at the memorial home.
Grant's beloved dog, Babby, became severely depressed after his death. A once happy 5-year-old dog grieved himself into an inoperable tumor, and 3 months later, died of a broken heart.
Do you know who this gentleman is? That's Grant Solomon. He passed mysteriously. The only person that kind of witnessed it was his father. I've been tagged in a lot of his videos over and over again about what was going on with his case. By the way, I'm a professional medium, and I was like, you know what? Let's see if Mr. Grant can use my spirit box. Look at what I got. I'm shook. So I started focusing, and I was like, hey, Grant, do you want to come in and talk and tell me what happened to you? And the first thing it said was, yes, yes. Hello. And I'm like, hi Grant, nice to meet you, Grant Soul Guides. I was like, can you tell me anything about what happened? He legit said crime, police, 4. By the way, it was supposed to be 3 other guys and his dad, so 4. And then it said coroner. And if you read about it, the only thing that like would have taken him out was blunt force trauma to the head. It said head. And then I was like, well, what happened to you after that? He said, I died. Then I asked the $1 million question, right? Mind you, things need to be tried in court, innocent people proven guilty, but spirits know all. So I asked him and he said, yeah. And then right after that one was this, monster. I've never seen either of those words pulled up on here. And then I said, are you sure? And he said, sin, and then death. I said, are you doing okay, man? And that's what he said. Feels anger. I mean, I would too. Then because I was having to leave to go to my next session, I said, what do you want me to do or what do you want us to do? And he said, seek legal. Seek legal. He wants justice. He wants justice. Finally, I asked him, is he stuck? Is he okay? He said, no pain. And he said, heaven, which is higher vibrational. And also apparently, he's with a dog. Because yes, all dogs go to heaven. I'm just gonna leave this right here. Y'all decide. Oh my God, you know how I told you I was tagged in a video? I got tagged in another video. And you know how he, on the spirit box, said dog? He said dog. I'm freaking out. Because I just saw this. Oh, I was tagged in this video of the dog. His dog passing away. He is with his dog. He is with his dog.